This is Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Tom Petty, rock iconoclast who led the Heartbreakers, dead at 66. Singer suffered cardiac arrest and was taken off life support at the hospital. By Corey Grow and Andy Green of the Rolling Stone. The dynamic iconoclast frontman who led the band Heartbreakers died on Monday. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers recently completed a summer tour last Monday with 3 nights at the Hollywood Bowl. The trek marked the band's 40th anniversary and found him rarely played deep cuts in their first album opener, Rockin' Around With You, and a selection of Wildflowers cuts. It was intended to be his last trip around the country, he told Rolling Stone. Though it wasn't his intention to quit playing, I need to do something or I tend to be a nuisance around the house, he said. In the late 70s, Petty's romanticized tales of rebels, outcasts, and refugees started climbing the pop charts. When he sang, his voice was filled with heartfelt drama that perfectly complemented the Heartbreakers' ragged rock and roll. Songs like The Waiting, You Got Lucky, I Won't Back Down, Learning to Fly, and Mary Jane's Last Dance all dominate Billboard's rock charts, and the majority of Petty's albums have been certified either gold or platinum. In most recent release, Hypnotic Eye debuted at #1 in 2014. Petty, who also recorded as a solo artist and a member of the Traveling Wilburys and Mudcrutch, was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. Thomas Earl Petty was born in Gainesville, Florida, son of an insurance salesman. On October 20, 1950, he quit high school at age of 17 and he joined a southern rock group, Mudcrutch, which was taking off at the time. The group's lineup featured 2 musicians. Petty would collaborate with, for much of the 5 decades, guitarist Mike Campbell and keyboardist Benmont Tench. But while the band was taking off, they broke up upon moving to LA in the 70s. Petty started his career in the early 1975 when he cut a demo with Campbell and Tench that also featured bassist Ron Blair and drummer Stan Lynch. They called themselves the Heartbreakers and recorded their debut, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, which came out in 1976. It failed to make an impact at the time. Lead single Breakdown didn't even chart. But they picked up heat after touring England as support for future E Street Band member Nils Lofgren. They soon became headliners on the tour, and the album topped the UK chart. But before the decade was up, Petty found himself bankrupt after a record label, MCA, attempted to buy out his contract from ABC Records, which distributed Petty's original label. It took 9 months of litigation for Petty to secure a new deal so he could put out the biggest record of his career, 1979, Damn the Torpedoes, which reached #2 on the album chart and was since certified triple platinum. The album contains the singles Don't Do Me Like That and Refugee, establishing him as a full-fledged hitmaker. Within 2 years, he was able to leverage his credibility in a standoff with MCA, which wanted to charge $9.98 for the follow-up LP, Damn the Torpedoes. Petty threatened to title it $8.98 until they backed down and released the record, which contained The Waiting under the name Hard Promises in 1981. He later scored a #3 hit later that year, Stop Dragging My Heart Around, a duet with Stevie Nicks that appeared on her Belladonna LP. The years that followed would prove to be tumultuous for Petty. Seeing departure of Blair from this lineup, they worked painstakingly on what would become the 1985 Southern accents. During this time, Petty became so frustrated that he punched a wall and broke his left hand. Nevertheless, he served as some number 13 hit. Don't come around here no more. The following year, just as the band was about to set out on a tour supporting Bob Dylan, Petty's house burned down, with arson being suspected, destroying most of his possessions. His wife, Jane Benyo, and 2 daughters were able to escape. The latter part of the 80s was marked by both commercial disappointment in 1986, Let Me Up, I've Had Enough, and his success with Traveling the Wilburys. Later found Petty collaborating with Dylan and Roy Orbison, George Harrison, and Jeff Lynne, and made it to number 3 on the album charts, was certified triple platinum in the singles Handled with Care and End of the Line. Petty followed his success into the first solo album, Full Moon Fever, home to Free Fallin', which Lynne produced. After years of swimming upstream, Petty was at ease with his legacy. In the later years of his life, as you're coming up, you recognize song for song or album for album, he told Esquire in 2006. What's changed these days is the man who approaches me on the street is more or less thanking me for a body of work. The soundtrack to his life, as a lot of them say, and that's a wonderful feeling. It's all an artist can ask. This has been Tom Doody, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search from my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. And ciao, Tom Petty.